This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, all right. So obviously the thing that happened this week, was it this week when it got released, or was it like last week? I kept seeing it like on Monday, and I was like, which Monday are they talking about?
I think it was this week. Yeah, earlier in the week. Yeah.
Okay, so January 1st.
No, it was probably like the Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, of course, because January 1st is a holiday, so it would be the 2nd or 3rd. But yeah, so the Epstein files got opened up to the public. And like you were saying right before this podcast, it's not everything yet. It's just like pieces of it, and they're going to be releasing it slowly. But one point of contention that we were talking about was because, okay, so when I saw the list, I asked you like, oh, have you seen the list yet? Sorry, I think it's going off. Have you seen the list yet? And you were saying like, well, it's not every one going to the island. It's just like people that have taken the plane, right?
Not just of taking the plane. The list is just names that they've mentioned in the investigation.
Okay, right. And then they asked them like, were they on this plane? And you're like, well, the plane could have been chartered for other places, so we have to look at who went to the island. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it depends, and it's just like it's interviews from the witnesses, or I don't know who the witnesses are. I haven't looked into that, but like it's just like, oh, they may ask some question of, I forgot which. Like they mentioned some celebrity, but he's like, no, but I don't think I ever saw him or something like that. But then so then his name would then be on the list if you don't like, you get what I'm saying? Like when they say,
okay. So the thing that I was seeing making the internet was they brought up so far Stephen Hawking, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. Okay, so when I was looking at the list and I was like, wait, and they didn't talk about the other person who I saw, which is Al Gore. So there was like a list of names, but then you're saying they just asked about Al Gore. We don't know anything yet about them.
Sure.
Because I just saw like a whole list of names.
Yeah.
And I was like, how come you're skipping over like another important person? But that makes sense now. So if you're looking at the list, it's not just a list of like guilty parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's a list of people that they're going to question. So that's a good point of like reference, because I was like, wait, Al Gore went to this island? Like, how far reaching is this, you know?
But it wasn't, so it's not to the island. It's just mentions of their names in investigation.
Exactly, yeah. So that's an important distinction to make. When I saw the list, I was like, that's kind of weird, but he might not even been at all associated. It's just they brought his name up in the conversation. So that's important. The thing that I think is so interesting about this, though, is that the people that they're kind of outing kind of had a reputation already. So like Bill Clinton, we've heard of like the Clintons like assassinating people. Like they would say like they got what's that word where it's like like accidental execution? Like they kill you but make it look like an accident. You've been like Clinton or something like that.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard that before in like conspiracy theory circles. But the weird part is, now that you look at this, you're like, how accurate are conspiracy theories now? It's giving credibility to things that we thought were so ridiculous. There's no way that there's this like underage like sex cabal. But then you kind of saw it with Nexium, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe it's just Nexium
Hmm.
that was the thing. And then you're like, oh, Epstein. And you're like, well, he couldn't have had everyone. You're like, wait, the Clintons were there? Damn. And then Prince Andrew, that was wild. I remember that was um, because of where I had worked. It was like associated with Prince Andrew. And when that had dropped like years ago, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, that he might have been a part of Epstein's thing, it was just like damage control. They're like, whoa, we got to
Mm.
disassociate ourselves. But now it's like, no, he was fully there. We have like the evidence and stuff. Um, but then the final one, Stephen Hawking, that was crazy because I was like, I would have never expected that.
I don't know if I couldn't remember, but I think these names were already mentioned before. I think it's just now what Stephen Hawking was doing. I guess was the more um,
Oh,
implication here.
Stephen Hawking was like,
I think these names were
symmetrical.
already known. Because these are all in like reports of, I don't know, like journalism, like articles and stuff like that.
Wow.
Right? These are just whatever they've done in the investigation. That's the files that they're releasing. Right?
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder how much research Simpsons does when they're making these episodes. Because do you see that thing with like, this scene hits different now, and it's like Stephen Hawking rescuing Lisa? But like, do you think they just kind of like get a bit of like they're like, oh, this would be a crazy conspiracy, and then they just make a joke out of it, and then later on it turns out they're correct because it was just like we're only remembering the wins, but we don't remember all the losses
Sure.
where they made references. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
But it's weird that like that was your actual reputation prior to any of this coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you take your body of I don't know. It's like the Michael Jackson thing, the R. Kelly thing. It's like, how do you separate art from artist? Like Stephen
Hmm.
Hawking did a lot of science, but now you're like, yeah, but he's that guy, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. No, but he's. I don't want to say like we knew that was weird, but his character has been. What did I see like before too? Because I think it was like in his movies, like or depicting his life, where it's um, like when he was
Oh yeah,
married.
you watched that. Yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was
I know
like
you're talking
married,
about.
and he cheated on his wife. Like when he's already like that with his nurse. Then he cheated on
Oh,
with.
interesting.
He married the nurse. Then he cheated on her with the other nurse. So it's like,
Right, so it's kind of like in your nature already.
yeah.
But all right, have you heard of like Pizzagate?
But also like his life is, you know what I mean, stuck in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, facts are facts. Like, what are you gonna do, bro? Like, that's a tough life. I'm sure there's so much trauma and like I don't know.
I don't
Pent up
know.
emotion. Yeah, like you gotta like exercise those demons somehow, I
I
guess. But
guess.
that's just wild.
Hmm.
Have you heard of Pizzagate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
I don't remember
And
what it's about again, but
so there's like a pizza parlor, I think in Washington that like in the basement, it's like an underground sex ring for like pedophiles and stuff.
right, right.
And it was proven to be like, oh, this is not real, right? But like how much fuel does this Epstein stuff give to like conspiracy theorists now? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you give them a bit of credibility now. So you're like, oh, what you said in the past was so ridiculous. Yeah, but look,
Yeah,
and then now you start opening the door for like what else is out there.
sure. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that
Well,
like
I think
heading
I get that. I think with conspiracy theories or theorists like that, it's you got to stick to what evidence is there, right? So you can always
Mhm.
make up these things if it falls in that category. But if you have proof, there's like legitimate reasons to see this is a true story. Like you can't
Yeah,
just connect all like, just because they're conspiracies that they're all going to be true, right?
no facts are facts.
Right.
Totally, 100%.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's the thing where people have to realize like uh, there were actual things, there were reason reports, there were. I mean, like this guy was convicted. Epstein was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was.
So these are the evidence, going towards all these sort of things that they were doing.
I think okay, shot in the dark here. Um, I think maybe he was murdered. Like there's a lot of
Sure, yeah.
evidence suggesting that he didn't hang himself, like that he was murdered. I forgot what the term was, where you make it look like an accident, but or whatever, it escapes me now. But I really think that if he had like gone to court and did the testimony, imagine what other craziness we'd find out. You know what I'm saying? Like the cleanest way is if you just got rid of him and then made sure that other people had to figure it out themselves. So it like prolongs the process. And in that time, like think of the Clintons, for example, right? They know that they're going to be found out eventually. So like, okay, we got this year gap between now and when people find out, and we need to set things in place to like make sure we're okay coming out of this thing. You know, I think if you look at all the options, if I was the person in power, I would go that route. You know, like executing him, because like we're only hearing what we have as evidence, but imagine the stuff that's in his head that he's just like never put down. You know, or like the strategies or like why it worked and like all that stuff, you know? Because what they say is like he would invite these really influential people into these circles, but he would be videotaping you. So you'd be having like this experience, but he'd catch it on camera, and that would be extra leverage for him to like ask you to, you know, let this bill go through or something like that.
Sure.
You know, and then okay, so what I'm thinking now is what else is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we have this, we have the alien thing. What other things are we not seeing that are happening? And it kind of freaks you out, you know what I mean? We have like this superficial level of how we live our lives, and then we always, you know, suppose that there's something else going on. And then it kind of seems like, yeah, there really was, or there really is something else going on this whole time. Thoughts on that? Or like, does it not make you feel that way?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it makes me feel that. I just feel like if
if
things are coming out, it'll come out. It's just this is.
But okay, wait.
But there's a level to it too. It's like how much if you let that stuff always happen to you, then you're. I don't know. I don't think it's just not how we're built to live. Like
but I wonder if that's a defense mechanism. Totally. I wonder if that's a defense mechanism that we build in our minds. Like what you're saying right now is not like I've never not heard it before. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that is a mental defense mechanism to be like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like a trust in God, like it'll all work itself out. Rather than like from my perspective, it's like, what are the other things we're being lied to about? You know? Because this is so far reaching. These are all the top level people, and you have them, you know, at your whim. It's not even like it's like who rules the rulers, and blackmail information is the king. It sounds like some Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, it's like, right? And like if you have dirt on them, you can make things happen. You know, like what laws were passed because of this? What things are they keeping secret because of this?
Okay.
You know, it's like
sure.
No, because like it's not just like we're not just having fun by like getting these people in our pockets. You know what I mean? You're not like, oh, let's just create this island to, you know, just have fun, and I'm just gonna like film you, and then this is my exercise of power. Haha, I know something about you, right? It's like you're doing this for a reason. What's the reason? What's the bigger story here? And that's what freaking me out. Just like the alien thing. It's like when they went to Congress and they were like discussing black budget files, and like how they were like siphoning money and like all that stuff. It became about finances instead of actual UFOs, which I like because it's like, yeah, who cares if they're real or not? Oh, yeah, that's important, but let's see what game we're playing here, you know?
Sure.
And like, if you look at it like that, then what is the bigger story that's going on with aliens? What is the bigger story with Epstein? You know, do you disagree with that?
No, I understand.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that's why it's freaking me out.
Yeah,
it's like
I think it's more like I get that, but I mean like when you say that, I'm saying that if you don't have evidence, then you're gonna add pile onto it without knowing what it actually, how much impact
No,
did he
no, no.
have or didn't have. You get
Facts.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, facts. Um, yeah, totally. I'm not making any speculations. I'm just
No,
like
no, no. Yeah, yeah.
wondering what other, like, what is the
But that's
bigger overarching.
exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. That level that you're adding onto it. That's what I'm saying. We don't know, right? So that's
Mhm.
could it be that, did he do a lot of things or did he do very little things? Like, that's what I'm saying.
No,
Both
right,
are
for sure.
both can be true, right? But which
No,
emphasis are you adding on that could add to your, you know what I mean? Like, we can only go based on the evidence, really.
no, facts are facts. I see what you're saying, but I'm saying that there is a bigger story here. And that bigger story is like there's no like positive out of it. There's only negative. That's why you're like, oh, I see you're adding negativity to it. That's what you're saying, right? You're like, me personally, I'm adding some like weird, freaky speculation associated with this thing.
Maybe, yeah, it could have that. Yeah, I mean, it falls in the world of,
The, the,
yeah, of course.
no, but is that what you're saying? What I'm doing? Because you're like, oh, now you're adding a layer,
Sure, yeah.
right? But okay, but there is no positive, right? Totally. I see what you're saying. I'm adding the layer of like speculation, but there is no positive to this speculation. It can only go downward. So I'm like, what? How far down does downward mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So little or more, you know what I mean? That's the thing.
No, but yeah, for sure. But like, but we know that there's more to the story, and that's what's freaking me out because I'm like, what is the more to the story? You know?
Hmm.
Because there's no way that. Okay, one thing that I heard, and I was like, this would be so wild if that's true. So we've always heard that there's like a government running the government. There's like a secret government running the government, right? There's like the government,
Sure.
and then you have like you know, people, especially if you get into aliens, dude, it's crazy because like what they say is there's there's like people who have been in their positions for years and years, whereas presidents have come out in 4 years. So that's why it's a need to know basis. They're like, we're not going to tell you about aliens. You're here for 4 years and then you're going to leave, or like let's say maximum 8 years, then you're going to leave, right? What do you do with that information? But they're lifers holding onto that secret.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like that could technically be the secret government that's running the government. You know, like who are these people in power? So the theory is that Epstein is a CIA plant and he was like ordered to do this in
Hmm.
order to keep certain people in line, which I was like, that sounds ridiculous. But now that things are playing out, I'm like, that actually could make sense if there is a secret government, you know?
Sure.
They're like, hey, because have you seen his documentary?
I think I've seen something. I don't know. There's so many out there now.
Okay, there was like one really famous one that's like a multi-part series. I think it was like on Netflix, and it interviewed like his victims, and it talked about his like come up. Okay, and what they're saying is he was just like nobody.
Hmm.
He just without Ghislaine Maxwell because she had the money, but he was just like a liar, a compulsive liar. So like he would say like he was a brilliant person, but he was a compulsive liar. So he's like, oh, I like did this and like I won this, like I have all these awards, whatever, but it's not corroborated. Right. So he just talked his way into this inner circle.
Hmm.
But how do we know that somebody didn't coach him into talking this way? Into like, you know, they do this in governments all the time, like for like uh like infiltrating other countries.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like spies, basically spies. Right? So is he like a master spy? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, but what do you think? Like, do you think it's like that's totally out of the realm of possibility?
I don't know. I think
Or it's like
anything can be in the realm of possibility, but we don't know.
totally. I understand what you're saying, but like is it so, like if I said like tomorrow the sky will be pink, you're like, oh, it's completely out of the realm of possibility. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely.
Hmm.
So it's like, where would you pit this in the realms of possibility? You're like, oh, that's more likely than this, or like that's least likely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
Uh, okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. It's like I would have to know enough information to really tell you that. I don't know enough information to tell you that.
All right. Could you conceivably see a person being coached, coming from the bottom as a CIA spy, and then being put in this position in order to flip high value assets?
Yeah, it could be.
Which is literally what they do in other countries. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you infiltrate, you get some dirt on them, so then you can flip them.
Hmm.
They become your asset. And that's like Spycraft 101, you know, and not as if I'm a spy or something, right? But if you watch those movies, it's like,
Right.
that is what they do. So it's like, and this is why I'm like, what's the bigger story? Like, who's the one who orchestrated this whole thing, and what are you trying to get out of it?
Hmm.
To rule the world, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like,
Yeah.
why do, like, could you imagine, like, why do we not have like a different source of electric vehicle, you know, or like a self-propelled atom vehicle or something, you know, like maybe it's because they're like, hey, we're making so much money. Like, what if it's all tied together? You know, the UAP thing with the how come we're still stuck on fossil fuels with the Epstein's Island. It's like you're using all these tools to keep us here and not progress. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but then that would. I don't know what that word means by progress. I feel like we have progressed.
No, we have progressed. Okay, okay. Here's another example. Eric Weinstein, right? He's like this crazy mathematician. Okay, and what he was saying is that he didn't believe in aliens.
Mhm.
Right? He's like, this is so preposterous. But then with the evidence coming out with the government, he's like, now I have to take it seriously. Right? And what he's saying is that if you look at science, string theory is like it's like a loop. You're just gonna like spin your wheels, but there's no way to make it better. Like, it's not gonna give you the answer to what you're looking for. Like, we're all like, oh, the theory of the universe is string theory, or like quantum physics, stuff like that, right?
Sure.
And we're pouring all of our resources into string theory, he was saying, but
Hmm.
it's like it's not gonna uh give you the solution you're looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So it's sort of like that. It's like, yeah, we could progress, but is it like a false progression? Are we really progressing? You see what I'm saying? Like, you see it with business all the time. Like, you see it, it works.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Like,
no, no. I
everyone's like
understand.
complacently. It's like, yeah, we're progressing, but it's like we could progress faster if we're all on the same page. You know?
Sure, yeah, but I think that's the thing is like who even that's his one scientist's perspective, right? Or one
Yeah.
researcher's
No, no,
perspective. Then there's another person's perspective he disagrees with him, right? He'd said it, no, I think
facts.
string
No,
you get what I'm saying? This is
no.
the
Right,
thing
right,
that we're
right. No,
putting.
no. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not talking about string theory. I was using it as an analogy
No, no,
for
yeah.
this
What I'm saying is
example.
like people would have different ideas. So if people are like like to leave gas or like go electric, or is it these there are two sides here playing, like I don't know which one's going to be the lasting thing, or they both have to exist, or like we can't just wean off that quickly, you know what I mean?
Facts. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Exactly. No, no. Totally,
because
totally, totally.
the
And
reason what I mean by progress is you're gonna progress, but I think it just depends on how quickly things become easier to change, or
this is my point.
reason
This
to
is my point.
change.
This
Hmm.
is my point. This is my point. You're exactly saying my point. All right, you have side A, I have side B. Okay.
Sure.
And then I want people to go to side B, right? But all these supporters of you for side A are like, no, I think this is good. And then I get dirt on them. I'm like, hey, either you side with me or I'm going to release this to the public. Okay, I'm going to side with you. So when you're saying easier to change, it's like, yeah, is that what's going on? Like, is he flipping these people to make decisions in favor of his side?
Well, that's
So it's like,
what I'm saying.
it's
You
like,
have
yeah,
to. Yeah, that's what I'm
but
saying. Like you have to prove that that's what's happening, right?
yes, you have to prove that's what's happening, but what other mean? So there's only
Because
two options here.
all I'm
Either
saying
you,
is like there. Okay, then you're saying there's only one person, pushing the thing. If there's the other side of it, pushing their idea,
yeah, of course, yeah.
so then we're both
Wait,
fighting
wait, wait.
this other
No,
side.
no, no, no. Right. So you have side A, you have an opinion A, I have
Okay,
an
okay,
opinion B,
yeah, yeah,
right? And you have a team of people supporting you,
yeah.
but it's all about votes,
Sure.
right? So I'm going to find really bad evidence on those people around you. I'm going to flip them to my side so they become my votes. So then I'm going to win.
Okay.
And that's the only potential outcome for why he did this. Unless he's just so bored with all of his money and he's just like, let me just create this fantasy island for people to just come and I'll just film them for no reason. But I'm saying, like, that seems very unlikely that you just did this on a whim.
No.
Definitely some other decision going on.
I understand what you're saying, yeah. But then you'd have to, like, were all the did he have politicians? Like,
he did Bill Clinton.
right.
And he had the top scientists.
I get that. But you'd have to have Congress, you'd have to have senators. Because the way that their system works is you have to vote as a thing, right, to get things passed.
That's in America. But what I'm saying is it's a global cabal. Because he had Prince Andrew. Meaning the game is different in Europe. So it's like, how far reaching does this go? Does he have some Saudis? Does he have Canadians? Does he have, you know what I mean? We don't.
Well, yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying, yeah. Then you'd have to, that's what I'm saying, you'd go by the evidence, right? Who are these people that are...
Yeah, facts. And the three people that we know so far, for sure, are the Clintons, the Prince Andrew, and Stephen Hawking. So you have the highest level of government in America, you have the highest level of government in Britain, and you have one of the highest levels of science. So you have government and science.
Mm-hmm.
So how much more do you have? Those are just the names we know. So like, what if you read it and you're like, wait a minute, like, because there's a bunch of people that are just like not famous, but they're very influential, right? Would we agree? Like, there's some like Avi Loeb. I had no idea about this guy until like he just started talking about like the alien stuff, and he's like, oh, he's a Harvard professor, longstanding, does a lot of research. He wrote a book about what he saw in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I had no idea who you are, but then everyone's like, oh yeah, Avi Loeb, dude, this guy's so genius. So there's a bunch of people out there that we just are not famous, but they're geniuses and highly influential in their field. Can we agree on that?
Sure.
Right. So what if you found out that there are people on the island who are of that same stature? So they're pulling strings in their own accord, but we just don't know who they are. Like, right. I don't know the friggin' defense contractor's name. You know, like the lead defense contractor of America. We don't know his name, right? But what if he's on the list? And you're like, oh, that's how you got that passed.
Right.
Right? That's what's freaking me out. Because it's like, there's literally...
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Then you'd have to find...
You did this for fun?
Exactly, yeah. You have to find the person who was... What's the person's name? Who was a defense contractor? Was he on this list? Like, that's the thing that you gotta research and do.
Facts. But this is where we separate armchair.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that research. I'm reading about aliens right now. Like, I'm not gonna delve into that.
Exactly.
I'm sure it gets right, but like, I'm waiting for the person to tell me, like, this is unequivocal. This happened. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole like.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting on that. That's why I'm not gonna say anything, because I don't know anything unless someone says it.
About the but we know about the three people, and then you can speculate accordingly. That's like all guess. Like we're just building a hypotheses here. Given the evidence, I'm building my strongest hypotheses.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Which is like, there's only two options for the hypotheses. Either he's bored or he was doing it for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't fall in line with the bored one. That makes no sense to me. Right?
Sure, yeah. Or he could take advantage of what he wanted to do anyway, so.
But exactly, yeah, take advantage. But that's what I mean. So it's like, what strings are you pulling?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the other, like, you're either bored or you're doing it for some, like, specific reason. We just don't know what the specific reason is.
Yeah.
And I think 2024 is going to be a very interesting year for knowledge. Because, okay, so there's the Epstein one. I'll get into... Did I send you the Miami thing that happened?
Yeah.
Where they're claiming it was like a giant alien. I'm like, there's no freaking way that all these police officers...
I just saw a video this morning. I saw another video this morning where it's not it wasn't an alien. It's just because it's pixelated. It was just like three people. There were I don't even know when it happened. There are some people saying I don't know if it's New Year's or like things were, because they thought it was probably like a shootout thing that's happening in a mall, because fireworks were supposedly used so or something like that.
Oh, okay. So I first saw that in my Twitter feed, my X feed, and I was like, they were like talking about like some shootout, and I was like, oh, that's crazy that happened.
Mm.
And then Charlemagne, the one I sent you, said it was like an alien. And you're like, I was like, what? I thought this
No,
was just a shootout. Yeah.
and then I don't know, on this one that I video that I saw was like some guy made up that story because it looked like he was filming it in a bathroom, saying it was aliens. And I think what I heard later on that he said that I made up that story, and now it's gone way overboard, right? So it's like
See, this is the marketing, right? It's the negative source bias. Like all we remember is the fact, but we don't remember that this guy just totally made that up.
yeah.
So now some of us are like, there's an alien that was like walking around.
And
They had,
then like
the
people don't understand how, when things are far away, things get pixelated and it looks like, oh, is that an alien?
Yeah, totally.
But it was like three
There's-
people.
I-
It's supposed to be three people
Yeah.
walking.
Facts for me. I was like, there's no way. That's why I sent it to you guys. I'm like, there's no way.
I think, and then I heard
Maybe,
like
that'd be crazy.
at the same time I heard that it's like, yeah, if the alien was walking through the mall, then the mall was a lot of people, wouldn't there be other videos?
Exactly. Yeah. So dumb. This is why it's like,
But then we're
I talked about
in
the-
that world though, right? Like this is the alien news, the UFO news. So anything that is just going to become
Facts.
that.
Okay.
So then now we know
So
we don't know which is true.
Totally, 100%. And you know what's really interesting? I brought this up before, but this is like a long time ago when I went to New York. And watching the news in America is more sensationalized than it is in other countries.
Mhm.
When you're in like Canada, it's boring. Nobody wants to watch the news because it's just like this happened today and this happened today, which is what I feel news should be. But then when I went to America, it was like, oh, you're like entertaining me as I'm doing this. Like, what's the hot story? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like them jumping on that was an alien and then be like, yeah, it's an alien, guys. You're like, okay, are you just trying to sell commercials right now? Because I'll watch the next segment and be like, what's happening? Whereas I feel like that's one of the hallmarks of America, which is like we'll just blow things up,
Yeah, of course.
for entertainment purposes, And
Well, that's what 24-hour news
Yeah.
is, right? How do you have 24 hours of news? That's
true. Would
Taken-
most of the stories be boring? Yeah.
yeah.
No, facts. If you watch like even 24-hour news here in Canada, CP24, right? It's reruns.
Yeah,
Like if you just
right.
catch like an hour of it, you're like, cool. It's just gonna repeat the same thing for an hour, like for the next like 24 hours.
Yeah. Until
You know?
they're breaking news or something, and then that's it. Yeah.
Totally, right? Whereas like in America, it's totally different.
Mhm.
Which is why I feel like when they say that there's crazy stuff going on, yeah, I see it. Like you guys are like, what do you believe?
Yeah.
Like it's so you're kind of propped up to not believe in the government when you're there.
Mhm.
Like more prone to conspiracies there because everything's so ridiculous, right? And this brings up like Cat Williams. So a decent thing that's like
I've seen his
internet.
clips. Yeah.
So- okay, so I'm trying to watch the whole thing. I'm like halfway through, and okay, one thing that I thought was really interesting, so I saw this morning, is that so this is also part of 2024. It's like, dude, I feel like a lot of stuff's gonna be uncovered in 2024. It came out strong with like Cat Williams, Epstein, and then the alien stuff is like still on the brink. It's like, what are we gonna hit in 2024? Anyways, so the Cat Williams thing, it's interesting because when I was watching it, it sounded so ridiculous. Did you didn't see him talking about his backstory?
No, I don't think any of the clips had that. No.
Okay.
His backstory, like how he.
Yeah, like how you came up.
No.
Okay. So so this morning I saw this like post that said it's interesting because everyone's saying they're just ripping Cat Williams, but nobody's calling him a liar. So they're suggesting that what he's saying is true. And I was like, if you watch the interview and you watch the part where he talks about him as a kid, there's no way you could take this guy seriously. As soon as I saw that beginning part, I was like, are you just straight lying? So, okay, in the beginning, he's just ranting about like how much, how bad the industry is, whatever. And then the interviewer asked him about like, oh, I heard about your childhood. And like, apparently he could read fluently, like to a high level at 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell are you going to read at 4 years old, bro? and high levels of comprehension. He's like, well, I was the only one that could speak English, so I had to like communicate with my, like I was the liaison for my parents. I'm like, at 4 years old, bro, and he's like, I was reading 3,000 books a year. 3,000 books a year is crazy, bro. I read pretty fast, but like I don't even crazy speed readers. Nobody's hitting 3,000 books a year, bro.
Sure. Yeah.
Like there's 52 weeks in a year. So 365 days. So you're reading like what, 10 books a day or 100 books a day? Impossible. But he said it with such confidence
Right.
that I was like, are you a sociopath? You know what I mean? Like how could you just say that so like, you know? And then he said like he moved out at 13, and then we moved out at 13. He moved to, I don't know, this place, and then he was homeless because he was 13 years old. He couldn't even afford an apartment, so he lived on the street, and he started talking to all the homeless people, and he realized that, you know, drugs are not the answer because all of them are associated to drugs. And he's like, oh, this is why I'll never do drugs. He's like, my body's a temple. But then as soon as he was like talking, I was like, pause, let me go watch your stand-up special. Because he's like, my fans love me and they know the truth about me. So I was like, okay, how big is your special? He's like, I put out 19 specials, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. So I watched one, and it was very politically charged. Like it's all conspiratorial. It's very funny, but it's like all the things like the Epstein stuff. Like you would be like, yeah, there's something going on, right? But sure, you're making these connections, but when you start outright, I don't know if it's a lot, like, but like if you say you could read 3,000 books in a year, I'm like, no, that's an obvious lie. So how can I take anything else? If you said that with such certainty, how much of these like fake things that you're saying are you saying with certainty?
Right.
And that kind of broke his whole credibility for me.
But how many people?
How do you feel?
But like, how many people actually looked at the videos versus just the clips, right?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
And the clips are look very good on him.
They do look very good on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I saw Ice Cube. Like he posted this thing. He's like, yeah, the Cat Williams thing's going on. I just want to say, you know, a lot of the stuff he's saying is true, but I just want to clarify a few things. And I was like, okay, that's what made me want to watch the interview. When I saw Ice Cube being like a lot of what he's saying is true, I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this. Like, what are you saying that's true? But then it's like, how do you separate fact from fiction at this point? Because there's no way you're reading 3,000 books. You moved out at 13. If this is all real, if it's like verifiable, because the interviewer was like agreeing as if it was real, but I'm like, did you fact check this? Like, this was the time before the internet, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and like when you tell, yeah, just like, how can you have such a global cultural impact that's breaking the internet, but nobody's looking into the fact that you might just be an outright liar? If you watch the whole interview, like, you know, who's piecing that together? But if we go back to the news thing, I could see why he's popular, because the news is so ridiculous that you'll want to believe the things he's saying. So one of the jokes that he had was like, I'm pretty like, do you remember this too? I laughed at this one when they said there's a chicken wing shortage. Do you remember that? It was like during COVID, they're like, we're having a chicken wing shortage.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, he said we're having a chicken wing shortage.
Okay.
I remember this headline too. But he's like, but you didn't say chicken shortage. Is that like what? And then the kicker was, but we have a lot of thighs. But he's like, but chickens have 2 wings, 2 thighs. Like what?
Right.
So we're being obviously lied to, right? But to me, I was like, maybe that's a supply chain thing. Maybe like they have a backlog of like chicken, like, you know, you start to deconstruct
of course,
like how this logically, right? But it's like
people buy more
if you're
wings
set
than
up-
thighs.
Exactly. So if you're setting it up like that, like to position it like they're straight up lying to you, rather than being like, wait, there's probably logistical issues here, and like people buy more wings than thighs.
Yeah, I mean, like think of like a store called Wild Wings. It's just wings.
Exactly. You know what's crazy about Wild Wings? That's one chicken dead for every 2 wings, bro. Like that's crazy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But okay, so the positioning, right? So all of his fans are like, oh my God, you're so right. They're lying to us, whatever. And you're like, are your fans just dumb? You're like, wait a minute. Like, are they as crazy as you? And is that what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is the minority community naturally defensive over the government that they'll
Sure.
latch onto this guy that's obviously wrong? 3,000 books a year, completely impossible, bro. But when
Hmm.
you tell me like look, they're lying to us. Like they're not saying chicken shortage. They're saying, and you're like,
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
true.
Right. It's easy to
But
understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you think a
you know
little
what I'm
bit
saying?
more, then yeah, yeah, I understand. Yeah, yeah,
And then why are you so popular?
yeah. Hmm.
Because everyone's that dumb? I don't know. Or like, I don't want to say dumb, that's rude. But like, did they not look into it?
I think I don't know. I mean, is it a resurgence to his career? Because I haven't heard his name in a while.
Oh no, no, he's been pretty popular. He just chooses not to be. He even said that in the interview.
Oh.
Because like I was like, oh, dude, Cat Williams is so funny. And so it's like, yeah, like my sister, she's like, yeah, I'm a big fan. I watch all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Mm.
Like he's been out there, but he just doesn't do like interviews and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
But which is funny because when you watch this thing, I was like, let me go check out your special. Let me go check out other specials now. It's like this is a great marketing tool for you.
Yeah.
Totally. No, no, for sure.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
he only did this interview because he's like, I respect you as an interviewer. I was like, oh, okay.
Mm.
Maybe, I don't know, or maybe he's just like playing some 4D chess. Oh, here's the other thing. When he's like, my body's a temple. And then I went to go watch a special. I'm like, you don't even look fit at all, bro. So like, what are you talking about? And then the interviewer was like, do you work out? And he's like, yeah, I do 100 push-ups a day. I'm like, that's like nothing, bro. Like, yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's a good starter, but you're nowhere like a high-performing athlete. When he's like, my body's a temple, I keep it in optimal shape, blah blah blah. And it's like we can visibly see it's not, and you're saying you're doing 100 push-ups. And
Sure.
then he's like, I tore both my rotator cuffs. So I took up golf, and then the interviewer was like, "Oh, so you golf?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it seemed like he was trying to worm his way through everything, and I was like, does nobody catch this? You know what I'm saying? Like the 3,000 books, my body's a temple, and then every time he was like kind of put in a corner, he just like make a story about it,
Right.
you know. So it's like, how do you sift between fact and fiction from what you're seeing?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you should be a little more skeptical now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. It's like the Austin thing. Now I'm a little more skeptical of Joe Rogan. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, bro. Like, it
You
wasn't
know,
as great as you said.
I was gonna say something too, because of those videos that you're sending me of the houses and stuff or something,
200,000.
or cheap or something. But
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing, I think one thing people don't talk about is it's also like what's the median income, right? You're not the same job in California is not the
Oh,
same
that's
job.
interesting.
Is not going to be the same paid job in Texas, right? So if you just look at like
Okay.
if you look at it as like medium income level, but at the same time, uh, they don't talk about what's the property taxes. Texas has one of the higher property taxes than other places.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. Didn't know that.
So I think it depends on how. If you look at it median income level, it ends up becoming relatively equal. Maybe just a little bit more in California, but it's not like that much
Yeah.
more.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like we're being okay, again, it's like marketing matters, bro. Like we're being presented with this thing where it's like, hey, it's so cheap to live in
It's
Texas.
yeah,
But what you're saying is like if you look
they
into
don't
it, it's
have
actually not.
they don't have income tax. I don't think all across Texas, but they do have a higher property tax because they don't have an income tax.
Interesting. Yeah, but the houses are also so cheap. So technically,
But depend again. That's what I'm saying. Where the medium level of income is different, so
has to
it has
support
to
it. Right, right,
it
right, right, right.
matches the level of the house prices and stuff like that.
And that's why
Or what
the
kind
Uber
of
driver when I was there.
exactly what kind of support does the city give? Like there's so many levels that you can look at these
Yeah, no,
things
no.
that
So and
people don't really think about.
facts are facts, and that's why the Uber driver, when he was saying, he's like, now that people are moving here, it's making it harder for us because like all the prices are jumping.
Mm.
Whereas before, like we didn't need that much money, but now we need more money because, like you said, it has to like support. It
Yeah,
has to like
yeah,
level
yeah,
off
yeah.
in that way. Yeah, it's crazy. See, like so many things, man, that you're like seeing on the surface, but like so much more groundwork if you just look into it more,
Yeah, because I was
which
like
is like
curious because I see
crazy.
all the time, but I always look at it like, what's the property tax? Because once you buy a place, then you realize that's why it's like I was looking at Pickering or in
Oh
Toronto,
yeah, yeah,
right? Then you one thing you have to look at is property tax, and Pickering has one of the higher property taxes. I was like, that's
that
too
makes
much.
sense. Yeah, no, but it makes sense though. It's like a very affluenty, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
area.
Exactly, and I think those are the things that are not mentioned a lot when they say like a 300,000 house, but what's the
Right,
property tax,
right,
right?
right. Because you have to pay that yearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
Yeah,
Like even if you pay off your house, you still have to
yeah, yeah,
pay
yeah, yeah, yeah.
property taxes. Yeah, exactly. So that's like those that's the crazy part too, man. The hidden costs of like renting and like
Sure,
that's a whole
that's a
separate
whole different thing. Yeah,
topic.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
But like, yeah,
yeah,
but I'm
but
just saying, like, yeah, the whole, everybody's moving to Texas,
no,
it,
yeah, yeah.
right? It can't be true, yeah.
On a lie.
but
It's
there's like,
like yeah, let's
yeah,
get
how
a
does this
scene.
system? Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, it made me think of like Calgary because they're doing that here, right? Like I see all these ads for like
but
it's
not
cheaper in
now though.
Calgary
Not
for
right now
degree.
though,
All
because
right.
it's way
Yeah,
too
true.
cold right there.
Facts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. It was during summer. I did see it on the subway. Like I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
weird. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I like the photo of it. Yeah, wild. Um, okay, so this all like all these things, like the Cat Williams thing, the alien thing, the uh the what was the first thing? Oh, Epstein files. So all these things really make me think of us more like an organism.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So it's like we don't know what's right or wrong, or maybe there's no right or wrong. We're just moving as this horde. And I finished this book called The Ape That Understood the Universe. And I thought it was going to be about um I thought it was going to be about like actual evolution because that's what the person this is again, it's like what do you take away from a book, bro? So like the person was like who recommended the book. Like I just saw a podcast on it. They're like, "Oh, this is the best evolution book I've read." It like made sense to me. So I was like, "Oh, cool, evolution, like Big Bang
Right,
Theory.
right.
Let's find out." And it was not at all about that. Like maybe like 2 seconds about that, but I was like, that's not actually the takeaway of the book.
Mm-hmm.
The main point of the book is that we govern our lives through memes. And an important part, I sent you those two pictures, right, of like the
Yeah,
passages
yeah.
I highlighted. And the thing that it said was like, when we think of memes, we think of like jokes or things we send to each other. But meme is like short for mnemonic, and it's like a memory tool.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is a meme. Like how you tie your shoes, how we do this podcast. It's just like encoded information that we could pass on.
Right.
Okay. And what he was saying is that human beings are collectively powerful, right? We individually don't know how to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
wire a
yeah.
car, right? There's something wrong with my car. I'm like, oh, dude, I don't know what it is. Tara's like, YouTube it. So I tapped into the collective knowledge, which is the internet, and then I was able to figure out a solution for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's the superpower of our race. Individually, we are not very like strong, but collectively we can tap into each other's knowledge base and that allows us to do great things.
Right.
Right? Think of science, right? You need like Newton's thing and then that's how you
Sure.
get Einstein's thing, right? They're always building on another. Okay. So one thing that it said though was memes like they live in your mind and it's not about the truest meme. It's about the most replicable meme.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we are as human beings. Cuz like reproduction is a very sought after thing, right? You're like, oh, I want to build a family, right? That's like the apex of what we're told to believe, right? And what he was saying is it's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of the most reproducible.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I post that, it's so weird. Like I think he reposted the author. Like I put it on Twitter, and then Twitter's honestly, Twitter's getting like the craziest engagement. I love that Elon Musk just like opened it up because now I'm like, how did these people all of a sudden like the traffic's picked up, you know?
Right.
but okay, so he reposted it, and then somebody commented like, "Oh, this is the most like pig-headed idea," right? Just saying it's like not the survival of the fittest, the survival of the most replicable, but it's true though.
Mhm.
And what he's saying is like, that's why we peacock. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
if I don't need to have like all of the flashiest clothes. I don't need to own them. I just need to make you think I own them.
Mhm.
And then if you think I own them, you're gonna want to reproduce in me.
Right.
So I'm not the fittest specimen. Like I don't have all the money and I don't have all these things, but I've convinced you I'm replicable.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then it makes you think about the whole line, like Elon Musk said it. And I didn't get it till I read this book. The one who rules the memes rules the world.
Mm. Yeah, I remember he said that. Yeah.
Right? And you're like, oh, okay, that's funny. Like they're just like funny jokes. And it's like, no, like mnemonics, not actual jokes.
Mhm.
It's like who rules the knowledge rules the world.
Right.
And it's like with the Epstein thing, with the Cat Williams thing, with the uh, with the alien thing, it's like sifting between what's real and fake, what's genuine information is so difficult that it's not about what's the best, it's what's the most marketable.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's freaking me out too. Because I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And
Mhm.
that's why we talk about commercialization of the art. That's why like genius ideas are not being picked up. It's like maybe it's all about who you know, not what you know. We've been told that forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was
Right.
like, there's no way that that's true, you know? Or maybe like, or maybe it's I don't know how to like put this, but it's like maybe it's like a saltiness aspect of me, but it's like why do I have to work 2 times harder for somebody with half the level of skill to be over me?
Mhm.
Because like everyone's like, well, you're just so skilled, but it's like you had to work this hard just for to be under you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
is that how the world works? It's just like I can convince you that I can get it done. It's not like my track record is amazing, but my bullshitter ability is not.
Mhm.
And you know that like that's how a lot of people get into power. It's just who's the best BSer.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
The one
Sometimes.
right?
Yeah.
No, but you see it too, right?
Mhm.
Like oh dude, that person's not qualified for that. But they have that position. How'd they get the position? Connections, BS ability,
Mhm.
all that. Why are politicians like random sometimes? Why are we just like I don't know, like lying on our issues? Like why would one politician champion one thing and all of a sudden like switch their tune later on? Because it was like not
Viable.
marketable.
Yeah.
You right? Right? So they're like, oh, everyone's into this equality thing right now. So I'm gonna jump on the equality bandwagon. We know that that's what politicians do. That's a game that they play,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So it's like maybe that's how the world works.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true, that's freaky, bro. That's freaky because then it's like, oh, that's why we'll never progress as a species. We'll progress up to a point, but we'll always be controlled because it's not about like what you really want to do. It's about what you can make other people believe they should do.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just survival. This is not like a thing of now. It's a thing of humans.
Yeah, hard facts. That's true. It is not localized to this. It's just a principle of human beings. And that's why I like the book. He took it as an alien perspective. Like the book opens. That's why I was like, oh, is a book about aliens?
Mhm.
He's like, if there was an alien race looking at us as a species, it's much like Sapiens did, where like Sapiens was like, I'm looking at you anthropologically.
Right.
Like I'm not a human looking at a human.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm a scientist looking at humans.
Sure.
So what the book did was like, if I was an alien race, how would I perceive the human race?
Mhm.
And like he was saying that like And I summed it up in these, and then I started to like backtrack the thoughts on what I posted because like that might freak people out, which is like we are we live in make believe. Well, let me just pull it up because it was like I wrote it and I was like I posted. I was like, oh, I don't know. I think people will think I'm crazy.
Whoops.
So I literally
That's
wrote
odd. No, the time that you picked up your phone, I got a text. It was an odd timing.
I text you, bro. I text you. So it's humans are reproductive machines living in a world of make believe. That's what I wrote as the summation of like the principle of this book, right? And it's freaky because you're like, are we really just that? Are we just reproductive machines? Because that's what he says is like if you don't reproduce, it's kind of just the end of your line.
Yeah.
But what he was saying is that it's not. So like he opens with like a lot of people don't want to have kids, whatever, and like you kill your line that started from the very beginning of time. So you literally like us being here is literally you could trace it back to all the way to the beginning of time.
Sure. Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah, of course.
It's like an unbroken chain.
Yeah.
Logical, right? And what he's saying is like, don't feel bad though, because many people have died. Like, and you're just one that will die as well. So like, even if you don't have children, like, what if you died in a war? That broke the chain. You know, what if you died in a plane crash? That broke the chain.
Yeah.
But our chain will never end, is basically what he's saying. So we are literally just reproductive machines. We're just like, let's just reproduce. And then the make-believe part is because once we've reproduced, we've created these like simple lives for ourselves that are cushiony. It's like, now we just like make fake things like laws. Like there is no such thing as a law.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And like Full Metal Alchemist, I finished the anime, and one of the scenes that I cut up is like survival brings us closest to the now. Because what he was saying is like he was like, it doesn't matter. Like in this one scene, he was about to fight somebody to the death, and he's like, this is when I feel truly alive because our gender, our race, our rank, it's not real. All that matters and is real is I'm going to kill you to survive. And I was like, ooh, that's true. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Everything else we just made up. You know? Like, what is a job? I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Just made up.
Yeah.
But when you think at it at this level, then you start unraveling in your mind. You're like, why am I doing these things? And that's the destruction of the species, though.
Yeah, no. I know. It just reminds me of. It just reminds me of this is the thing that I had thought of way before too. Because you know, like I see people just because I viewed it like that, like a scientist viewing it as a species. I could see in the mornings everybody's going to the GO train to go to work downtown, and everybody's coming back from. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. This is what I had viewed. I had seen this, and it's like, oh, that's such a weird life. Like you're just following through with. You know, you're just doing the same thing, right? And back and forth every day. But then, like, this is how we have created this world to be, right? Or else we'd be farmers, we'd be, like, once you watch the documentaries and you see there's other ways of living, but which way do you want to live, right? You got what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. And that was even my own journey too, because it was like I also thought that was weird. I was like, dude, that's kind of weird. And you know, that's why I wanted to like freelance for so long. It's like I don't want to join this thing, but then you realize like it's just so much easier. I don't have to chase people down for money. I don't have to. I just get an automatic payment. You know what I mean? I can buy this mic. I can buy this laptop. Right. You know, like it's like it's freaky when you think about it, but it's also convenient.
Right.
And that's what we really want. Like. People who want to live off grid, like more power to you, bro. Like cool, but you're literally not being a part of the horde.
But it's also a lot more risks with that too, because the people have done that.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
right.
No, people have, but it's like, what's the longevity there, bro?
Yeah.
Like your kids, like okay, sure, you guys do it. What are your kids gonna do? Not gonna go to school? Not gonna get an iPad? Gonna come back to the world, try and get a job, and be like, I have no idea what tech is. You're like, oh, you just crippled your kid for the future. You know
but there are some people that do that, right? I think there were some documentaries about that, no? like some family living out
like
in
the
the
Amish.
yeah, not just the Amish.
I don't know.
Somebody like left the city world and took their family to
Oh
live.
damn.
I think something like that. This feels like an old documentary to me, but like that's an experiment. We'll see what happens with that.
Or is it Captain Awesome, the movie Captain Awesome?
Maybe I don't know.
Or that. But but for real though, like it's just easier to be in society.
Mhm.
And that's what the book again, it made me realize like we're just this collective horde, right? And maybe the people that maybe we're looking at it all wrong. Okay. So another Full Metal Alchemist, I wouldn't recommend it as the story. I was kind of messy, but the actual lessons
Mhm.
that I learned from Full Metal, I'm like, whoa, you put a lot of like Taoist philosophies into it, which is like both sides are equal, right?
Right.
So one thing that I noticed in Full Metal was there were like these like people that were basically human incarnations of the seven deadly sins. So there's like sloth, greed,
Mhm.
lust, all that stuff. So the greed one was interesting and I cut it up, and he was saying that like you think greed is bad, but greed is what propels us forward.
Mhm.
We want things, and that's not bad because that's what makes us work towards things. So, like seeing it from that perspective, thinking people are like, oh, you shouldn't be greedy. It's like you shouldn't be overly greedy,
Sure.
but you
There's
need
level.
greed,
Yeah.
right? But that's the Taoist philosophy. It's like even in the yin yang, right? There's a piece of the opposite within
Mm-hmm.
the opposite color, right? And that's what like that was a strong takeaway from Full Metal, but it relates to like our lives in that maybe we think that Epstein and all these people are doing bad things, but why is the villain always the one with the most rational sense trying to keep us together?
Right.
Like the greed person who said that was a villain.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, but you're speaking the truth. Like Thanos, you're speaking the truth though. So like
Right.
would it be crazier if we are like vilifying Epstein, but he's like, but I'm the thing that keeps social order.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
that.
like literally,
Yeah.
that's like a movie. That's like a movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like people, like all bad people in the villains of movies are always like, I'm keeping social order though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, maybe we do vilify you from the outright, but it's because we're not okay with vilifying our own. Hold on, we're not okay with vilifying our own human nature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we can't accept that negative part of us, so they become that negative part and exercise the things that we don't want to do, but we need to do.
Yeah.
Sort of like assassins.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard assassins say that, right? I keep the peace. I do the things that you don't want me to do.
Yeah.
Like James Bond.
Right.
James Bond, right? If you really look at it, James Bond's kind of a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just killing people all willy-nilly, but we love him because he's keeping the order.
Right. The status quo. Yeah.
Right? But what if Epstein was just keeping the order, bro?
Who knows?
No, right? Like
Yeah.
that'd be crazy. We don't know how this thing's gonna play out. Like maybe the black files of like the UFOs are just keeping the order.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another creepy thought. Because then you're like,
Yes.
like what I'm saying? Like
I do understand what you're saying. Yeah.
without order, are we just like chaos?
I think so. I think we can be. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like one thing they said about
because then if without the order, then it's fear that's running it. I don't think fear is
exactly, yeah.
It can't be controlled, right?
Fear cannot be controlled.
Yeah, because people can do irrational things in that way. But I feel like
Facts, yeah, no,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
But if there's like certain levels to order, to life, to like why change things?
Yeah, no, I
Things are working.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But like that's how we got into climate change. You know what I'm saying? It's like
True.
It's like, hey, things are working, but
Yeah, but then that's part of the thing, right? When it actually does do some climate change, would be the chaotic thing. So we'd have to find ways to
figure out a new order. Yeah.
Yeah.
The the thing that they're saying about the alien stuff and the reason why they don't want to release that technology is that if you release it to basically, it's like if you could make an atom bomb, like we have like the know-how for an atom bomb, but nobody can just go make an atom bomb,
Hmm.
right? But if we can tap into this like 0 point energy that everyone's talking about, then you can have such a destructive force, which is what they don't want.
Right.
So that's theoretically why they're trying to keep all this like hush hush.
Yeah, it
on
could
the
be.
new
It could
tech.
be things like that. They don't want your. Let's say like you don't want your enemy countries to reach your level, right? This
Yeah,
could
so
help
that too.
boost up
Yep.
their level to being equal to you. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
facts.
things like that. Yeah. Until they find it their own way, then we'd probably release it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Or what if you found out that okay, what if you found out that these aliens really are time travelers? And then how many people would try and contact them for an answer? Like, what is the future like? Do you have a
Sure.
solution for
Yeah.
this?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then we go into crazier chaos where we look
Mm.
at them like gods. Maybe they tried this in the past. Where like, Egyptians and stuff, they refer to these as sun gods. And they're like, right now, if we were to do that, like we know it doesn't work. So we can't reveal ourselves to you. Because if we come to you, you're going to be like, what's in the future? What can you save my child? Is there a cure for cancer? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
like that, whereas they're like, we want you to evolve on your own rather than using us as a crutch. I'm
Mhm.
just hypothesizing.
Sure.
Here, just
Sure.
like,
Sure.
because like, why would you keep that a secret? I don't know.
I mean, there. I guess those are the rules of time, right? That's the thing. Yeah. We don't know what
Exactly. Yeah,
what by knowing that what change if we do something different here, it could change their future. That's another
yeah. True, true, true. Yeah, yeah.
possibility too, right?
True. Yeah. It's yeah, it's a weird world ahead um for what we're going to look forward to in 2024. I I don't know what are some positives that are you looking forward to?
Well, of positives, I don't know yet. I haven't really looked into. I just my main thing, like when I saw like the first day of January, like how it's just not a good look for Japan right now. Like the way
Oh,
they,
why, what's wrong?
their whole year started off with really really bad earthquake on the first day of January.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Then
is that what that thing was?
yeah, then
It was a brace for a earthquake? I was like, what is this?
yeah, and they're like buildings were actually swaying. You could see these videos, and then the next day, where a Coast Guard plane was heading there from like the Tokyo airport, and
Oh boy.
another plane that was JAL plane that was coming to land hit it. That happened that day.
Oh wow.
I think
Wow.
there
That's
was
crazy.
was it there? There was a stabbing in one of their trains. There's another thing.
What?
Yeah. Japan's having a
Wow.
bad start to the year.
That's crazy. This is very bad foreboding for the rest of the year, bro. I'm like, what's gonna happen? A lot of people though are like not optimistic for 2024. Like Lex Friedman posted this thing about like we're on the precipice of war, all this strife and whatever. And I was like, yeah, 2024 does. Actually, I even messaged you guys. I was like, Happy New Year, but I was like, I'm not really looking forward to this year. I don't know why.
Well,
Like I feel so apprehensive.
there are things going on, yeah, especially with Iran. That's what's
But not even that. It's like this Epstein thing is crazy because like it's like yeah,
Oh,
totally.
what I heard was, yeah, we're bringing up the Epstein thing, but because of the whole alien thing, that's like the cover up. People stopped
For Epstein's thing.
Epstein talking about Epstein.
Oh, wait, they stopped talking about Epstein or?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So the alien thing's the distraction.
the distraction.
Could be. Could be. Or what if they're all just gonna like hit this apex point where we're all just gonna have our minds blown in 2024? You know what's weird? I saw this meme about like it's like an introvert meme, and you know that picture of the dude who like has his eyes open, close, and then open again?
picture? I don't know.
Basically, he's blinking. He's
Okay.
basically blinking,
Okay.
and the first picture, he's like his eyes are open. It's 2020. He blinks, and
Oh
then it's
right.
like
Yeah, yeah,
black,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Okay,
he
now I
opens his
remember.
eyes 2024, right? And I was like, that is actually accurate for how it feels. Like I don't remember 2021, 2, or 3 at all. Like 3, I did a lot of traveling in 3, so that was cool because everything opened up.
Mm.
But that was kind of like post COVID, like does 2021, 2022, and then like we're coming out of it, and
Hmm.
now it feels like okay, we're kind of back to normal. So 2024 is like when we open our eyes again. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
we're
right, right.
is that how you feel too, or like does COVID feel like a weird blur? Because what's trippy, Tara was like, COVID was 4 years ago. I'm like, what? That sounds so long ago.
Yeah.
It sounds long, right? 4 years. You're like, no
Well,
way.
technically 3, not really 4.
But why? It started 2020.
Yeah. Well,
In
4
January.
now, but like
Yeah, for
20,
now. Exactly. Yeah,
2023.
yeah.
Yeah, we just finished 2023. I was just thinking like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're entering year 4
Sure.
of COVID. So it's like 4. Yeah. But technically, yeah, we filled like 3 bars.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Because I was
It's
thinking, yeah, because
trippy.
it was. I mean, the virus is COVID-19, but it's the all the shutdown happened in 2020 of March.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Our lives were affected for those 2 years. That's all I remember.
I
Who
think
cares about
because
the math?
I
I'm
think
saying it's like, what?
I think I
Yeah.
remember it just because I was landing that time when everything shut down. That's
Oh,
why I
yes.
remember it.
I
That's
forgot about
why
that. Yeah,
that
that
was
was
like the first
crazy.
coming
Yeah.
down and then landing and then staying on the tarmac for like 2 hours because that day was the
Yeah.
day that they said like all planes have to go to only the major airports.
That was yeah, I remember, and like you were living with us at the time, and like you had just came back, but you couldn't even come back to the apartment for like I don't know, it took 2 months or
Till
something
a few
before
months,
you
yeah,
came.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
June I
dude,
probably moved back into the apartment. So
that was crazy, bro.
and my uncle was
That's what I'm
there.
like.
Yeah, I remember that. And my
Yeah,
uncle was there at my parents' place. So like, but we
we
didn't
all
know
freaked
even all
out.
the like the whole information wasn't like you could travel, but I don't think that was really explained on the news properly, right?
Right, because there were people going back and forth. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally. I remember that. Yeah,
yeah.
wild, wild times. Okay, let's make this a bit positive. Like, well, what's the time on the clock so far?
Oh, 1 hour 12 minutes.
Okay, let's talk about let's talk about movies because I'm like, ugh, gotta like push the ick off. I saw Iron Claw. Have you seen that yet?
No, you saw it in theaters
Okay,
or in?
yeah, it's on theaters.
Oh,
Theaters. Sad, sad. That's like
what do you mean
what
sad?
happened to their
Like,
lives because like
is it a
it
good
was just
movie?
constant. You would like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. My soul was like sad because it was just like a lot of troubles
I
with that
see.
family.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Like so like people died, stuff like that, like
Eh,
accidents, stuff like that. But like they were like the most famous wrestling family.
oh, okay.
I think you would like it, but one thing that I thought was interesting in the movie was a lot of people were talking about Zac Efron getting facial reconstruction surgery to like
Hmm.
make his jaw thicker
Okay.
for the role, right? Because he has a baby face, right? Like a very thin face, and in order to make this role, he had to look more masculine, like more aged out. So he got plastic surgery on his jaw to make it wider. That's the speculation. He
Oh,
said, I got it because I broke my jaw like 6 years ago. But it's
okay.
like, but you broke your jaw 6 years ago. Like, how we've seen you in that time, it looked totally fine. But what people are saying is that he's trying to transition into like different roles and he needs that kind of face. But the steroid use in the movie was so interesting because like post match they'd be in the locker room and they'd inject themselves in the butt with like
Hmm.
steroids. But I was like, how far is this from fiction? Because you guys look roided up, bro. Like they are crazy jacked in the movie, you know. And like, how far are you gonna go for a role, bro? Like like that's
Yeah, that's up to
serious.
the individual, right? So.
Yeah, facts. Like, what's his name? Christian Bale,
Hmm.
the master of body transformation.
Yeah.
Uh, but speaking of how far you go for a role, do you remember when Marvel movies used to be coveted? Like you were like, "Oh, do you land in a Marvel movie? That's so sick."
Yeah.
Or like Robert Downey Jr. era,
Sure.
right? Like you're gonna be Captain America. Now I feel like Marvel movies are a way to revamp your career. I
Hmm.
don't think they're A-list actors anymore. I think they're B-list actors. They're trying to become A-list. Thoughts? Because think about the Marvels, the Brie Larson and all that,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
like all the flops that have just happened. And I'm like, oh, they're flops because the actors weren't that good. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know about Brie Larson, but I think it's just they're just not good stories.
Okay. Do you think she's a good actress? All right. No. Wait. Hold on. Let's.
I've
I
only
always like
seen
preface this because.
before that I've only seen her in I think Room, for what I remember what it's called.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
And then there's a new show on
Okay.
Apple TV.
Yeah. I
So
watched it. I was like, ah, you're not. It's she like everyone's different. So Tara was like, oh, she's being great and that she's acting really well. Do you think she's actually like this? I'm like, yeah, but the range wasn't there. It's like you're playing a flat individual. It's like, yeah, you have some acting chops, but it's not like I don't feel the emotion. She's playing like a almost on the spectrum person, so they're very like almost emotionless, robotic,
sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
right? So I'm like, but that's not really a range. That's just that you're playing flat,
Hmm.
you know. Like if I saw a range like Johnny Depp, friggin' amazing. We watched Willy Wonka over the break. I was like, I've never seen the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka one, but I was like, dude, you are a phenomenal actor.
Right.
You know, he throws himself into a
Hmm.
role.
Hmm.
Although typecast, he always plays like a weird character, but like it's phenomenal in how he's able to adapt.
But yeah, I
You
don't
know?
think anything's wrong with that. If that's your skill, right? As long as there's roles for you, you're gonna get those roles, right? I don't know how often you get those
Yeah,
kinds of
totally.
roles. So.
Totally. But I think that's like the dynamic range of Johnny
Hmm.
Depp. Like he is so uh wide ranging in his skill set,
Hmm.
you know. And I don't see any real actors join the Marvel cast that are like that. Except for like Blade, Mahershala Ali.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like he's great. So we'll see how that one lands. But I don't know. How do you feel about like Marvel movies now? Like
There's
aside
st-
from them being like what
it's just the
they're
stories that
still
there haven't been good. You can tell by the money that they're making. They're not making money.
right. But I think but that's what I mean. It's like remember when Marvel used to be so coveted, but now it's like
Yeah, they were there. That was
oh
their yeah. They had um their rise, right? It was becoming very
yeah
popular as a movie outing, and now
yeah.
it's not the same feeling.
And I feel like everyone's in a Marvel movie now. Like if you were like, hey, I'm in a Marvel movie,
Well,
like oh
yeah,
that's cool.
I think it was like
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, they saw that they probably joined in at the time when it was going up, but then when the time their movies are coming out, it's on the way down.
Yeah. Yes, it's not as special anymore.
Yeah.
It's like that was the golden era, man. Like when like if you look at Iron Man 1, that was the golden era for Marvel
Hmm.
movies.
But they had some like even in that span, it really near the end game eras when they were actually relatively good. There were beginning ones that were not good Marvel movies.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But like relative to now, like the Robert Downey Jr. era, stop at Endgame
Sure.
and then look at the ones going forward. It's like I have not maybe Loki, but that was kind of still in the Robert Downey Jr. era a little bit.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. Like there's nothing that you could say that's like, oh, that was a sick one,
That's
and
what they're saying.
we're
They're
still
like,
in this era.
what's going to be the saving grace for Marvel right now? Because I don't
Oh,
think
really? That's
that,
the question. All right, cool. That makes sense.
yeah, and I think they don't really have a good storyline that's like that attractive yet. I don't know. Maybe they could do something with X-Men, but I don't know.
I think with X-Men would be cool, but I think with Blade would be if Blade is cool, like the video game looks super sick. I love that
Mm,
actor. He's really he was in what was it? Leave the World Behind.
yeah.
So yeah, he's a great one. Let me get your thoughts on this because Tara said this before, and I was like, I don't know if I agree with this.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna throw it to you. Okay, so is reality TV the highest form of TV? Check us out. Because we're just constantly creating shows to mimic reality. So if we just capture reality, are we not just capturing the essence of what it is we're trying to watch? It's almost like a loop, right? She was trying to get me to watch more reality TV, and when she said that, I was like, actually, you're right. Put on some reality TV because I was like, let's just watch a story. Like I just want to watch could we just keep watching reality TV? And then we tried to watch a show, and I was like, well, she got bored, and then she's like, let's put on reality TV. And the only thing that got me to watch it again was like, it is technically because I'm watching something that is a
Mm,
depiction of reality. But why not just watch reality?
sure. Well, I think you can. I think reality TV in general does really well.
It does. And is that why it is? Because we're craving for something we want and we're getting what we want. Like why did the law of chemistry or whatever?
In a
Why that
way,
happen?
I think it also
You know what I'm
feels.
saying?
I think it could be just like, or these, just like they could be like normal people, or it
They
depends on
could
the
be us
reality.
kind
That
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, we're constantly looking for a reflection of who we are in stories.
Sure.
It's true though, right? Like the
Yeah. And you
heroes
have in
we,
reality
we
TV,
want
in reality TV, you have all kinds of characters
yeah.
because they're real people.
And they're literally us. Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
real people. So it's like it technically is like the highest form of like TV because
Hmm.
it's the truest form, you know?
Right. Right.
We have like Silo, right? We created this world like Silo, right? They are trying to figure out how to reproduce and stuff, right?
Yep.
In Silo. Like that's like the issue, reproduction. But then you have like Courtney Kardashian. I think his name's Courtney. Courtney Kardashian and Travis
Oh.
Barker
Oh.
trying to have a
Okay.
baby. So you're like, okay, I can watch Silo and like make up this unreal world, or I could watch reality TV and watch somebody actually go through the struggles of
Mm,
not being able to get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, which is the realer, which is the higher form of it?
right.
Because I'm making something up, whereas I could just watch somebody actually go through the struggle.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is reality TV the highest form of TV?
Yeah. I guess so.
I know, right? I know, dude. Yeah, I know, bro. I know. I was like,
But
damn.
I just can't do
All
it
right,
though.
put
I
some
just
on,
can't do it.
bro. Put some on.
I think I've
No,
had my
I know.
filling of them for a long time, but
I agree with you, but it's just when I got caught in that argument, I was
yeah,
like,
it's hard to. No, because
technically,
I'm just saying in a at a group perspective, they there is a lot more attention towards reality TV than there is for other shows.
yeah, but maybe that's because we're scratching the itch we're looking for.
Yeah.
Like nobody can agree on like, I just want to see this problem be solved. I want to see this. Okay, just watch somebody go through that problem, you
Yeah.
know? And then it's also like the worse off than me effect. You start seeing like people's bad
Mm,
lives and you're like, oh, at least I'm not like that. You know?
exactly. Yeah, that's because it's real, right? So they can connect it. Like
Yes.
if someone's going,
Yes.
having a bad life in a sci-fi show, it's like that doesn't relate
Yeah,
to
just turn off
the.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The other thing about that tripped me out though is I was like, as we were watching one, like Vanderpump Rules is a very famous one, and I think it was like number one on IMDb or something. Like Tara's looking at it, and it's about these like servers. Anyways,
Oh
um,
yeah. Hmm.
it's crazy because I was listening to it in the background as I was doing something else, and I was like, wait, these people ruined their lives for this show. You literally ruined your life. And if you get canceled from the show, it's like I don't know where you're going with this.
Right.
Like got one dude he got kicked off because of like homophobic comments that
Mhm.
he like wrote, and like now if you look at his IG, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like he's still trying to like maximize on him being on the show, but it's like, what are your other ventures? Like, I hope you saved your money
Right.
because you will forever be known as that guy. Like, if you go to work for a car dealership or something, it'll be like, you're that guy.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, especially if it's like a very popular show, like The Bachelor or something, you like ruined your life. Okay, so I think it's like two people removed. Like Tara's sister's friend knows one of the people that was on The Bachelor.
Mm.
And when she said that, I was like, well, that's creepy because that's real. Like, that's too close to home.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know, it's like so far removed. And you're like, wow, these are real people. So when you think about it like that, it's like, oh, you literally ruined your life for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you got like mad money off of it or something, you know? Yeah. Anyways. Okay. I guess like last. Okay, last.
Well,
last
I'll
thing.
say this. I think I don't watch that kind of reality shows, but I do, which I've been watching for a long time, where the like the Survivors or the Amazing Race,
The challenge ones.
the challenge ones.
Yeah, yeah. Those won't ruin your life. You're just like, oh, well, unless you do something crazy on there, but like,
No. I'm
There's
saying
challenge.
but those are the reality shows that I watch, and that I've been watching for a very long time. So
no, but okay, but all right, that kind of reality TV show is akin to like a zombie movie or like a heist.
Mhm.
Like we're still mimicking, like you create this like narrative of somebody who's like going after a treasure,
Yeah.
right? As a fictional story. But if you watch a reality show where people are literally doing that, then it's again the highest form of TV. We don't have to make it up. It's literally happening. We're watching people try and successfully achieve a goal. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. I'm saying this is still considered. It's a wide range of reality TV,
Oh yeah, no, totally.
right?
Yeah. There's other shows where it's like not even just about. It's not even about drama. It's like there's other reality TV shows where it's like they're trying to start a business or like
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's, but what I'm saying like as a genre, reality TV is like the highest form
Yeah.
because we're not faking anything. Like it's not fiction.
Yeah. No.
You're literally just
Right. Yeah. Like you can think of so many now. I just like the house improvements or whatever there were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That the
Cake or no cake.
yeah. And that's the reason why reality TV is the biggest thing.
Yeah, totally. But the crazy part is like you don't always get the most fame from it. So it's like be careful which ones you sign up for.
Oh no, yeah, because they go through like especially the ones I watch, they go through so many people, right? That
Exactly. Yeah.
very
So it's like, why are you
few,
doing
very, very, very few actually like make it famous from that.
and become like influencers and stuff.
Mhm.
But that's why remember I was saying that these kids who grew up watching reality TV, the end goal is to become an influencer. So they
Yeah.
know like if I somehow game this system, like get myself more airtime through this like sad sob story, you know?
Yeah, I think it depends
then
on
does that-
it depends on the type of reality that they're signing up for. Yeah.
But does that make them like ultra geniuses because they're the most effective social hackers? You know what I mean? Because they're affecting us as a whole.
Right.
It's like Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, Hunger Games is reality TV though.
Yeah.
Like it was a movie about reality TV
Right.
because they're all watching like the survival. Yeah. Okay. All right. Last thing. You know what's the craziest hustle? And I've seen it. Like so there's this person who posted this thing on Instagram about like basically they make clothes and they post how they land these deals for making clothes, and one of the posts was like about Zara. Like you've heard Zara, right? And like
Yeah.
all these other companies. So I think aside from reality TV being like the most genius social hackers, the
Mhm.
people who are good at reality TV who play the game, the other thing that I think that is genius, like if you want to look at the epitome of marketing, you look at the fashion industry. because at the end of the day, the only difference between your shirt and my shirt is the colors printed on.
Sure.
It's the brand,
Yeah.
right? And if you can successfully build a brand in a way that you make me want to buy this shirt over that shirt because of an idea, you're like the most masterful marketer in the world. Because that's like the ultimate
Hmm.
like mind control. Because there's literally no difference. There is different. I mean, people are like, oh, but there's differences in quality. Yes, there's difference in quality. But if that shirt didn't have the brand name and it was just a shirt, would you still buy it for the same price?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like let's say I gave you like a Louis Vuitton shirt and then the same shirt, just not branded Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. You buy the, you
But
get
they
the
both
it's the
cost you,
same thing. They're gonna get the Louis Vuitton. Yeah.
yeah, right? And I can't remember which marketer I heard say this, but they're like, when you're buying our brand, you're not just buying our brand, you're buying into the lifestyle.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's genius. Because it's like North Face, right? I'm going to wear North Face because that is adventure-y. I'm going to tell the world that I'm an adventurer just by wearing this. Or
Right.
like, I'll wear this Louis Vuitton thing because that will tell the world that I'm affluent and I'm knowledgeable
Hmm.
about high fashion,
Hmm.
right? Or I'll just like, even in the selection of your no selection, you're like, well, I'm just gonna buy like the cheapest thing that like is fine. That also signals to the world like I don't care about fashion. I care more about practicality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything we wear is it's semiotics. It's like it's literally us telling the world who we are,
Hmm.
right? So the most genius person is the one that can make you believe that that is who you are.
Right.
Like think of like Supreme,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like all these other brands. It's like you are one of us
Hmm.
because you've bought one of these. Okay. Did you see the new Yeezy drop that he's gonna
The
promote?
one you showed. Yeah. You sent that, right?
It's it's a sock, bro. That's
But I
crazy to
like how
me.
he did
He's
it
like,
though. It folded up. I was like, is that a headphone thing?
bro. And you know what the funny part is? I was arguing with Tara about this. I was like, it's going to be popular. She's like, well, I don't think that we should give it more focus. I'm like, yeah, it's only yeah, whatever.
It's
But it's
gonna
still
be
gonna be
popular.
popular
It's still gonna be popular.
because of the brand. It's a Yeezy, bro. Like, even if it's like we forget that there's a market outside of the Western market. Totally, you're like gonna market to the West. But the people who are really gonna buy it are affluent Asians.
Hmm.
You go around, you see them, you're like, bro, you're all wearing Yeezys. I don't care if he hates Jewish people. You're like, yeah, you just care about the fashion. Like, they're probably, I don't even listen to his music. I don't even know about.
Yeah.
I
Probably. Yeah.
just think
Most
this is like
likely not.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that's what I noticed. Like, especially if you go around like Pacific Mall or you like, oh, so not Pacific Mall, Yorkdale Mall, and you live, um, in like this area. Like you've seen it. Remember, like all the high end Ferraris and like everyone's wearing like Balenciagas here. Like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
Right? It's because they just care about like what will separate them from another person.
Hmm.
And it's like, I got these Yeezys, you don't. You know? So it's like, sure, the Western audience would be like, oh, I don't like Kanye West, but like there's a market outside the Western audience that doesn't care about his political views. They just want to be like
No, I don't. I don't
in the
think.
know.
Well, also, I don't think the ones that were buying Yeezys are this are the. They're still following him. I'm saying they're not the people that were against what his views were.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like they've already created like this halo effect around him.
Yeah, I mean, they
Where it's like
already. It doesn't matter what he does. They're still gonna like Kanye West.
here's what I mean. Yeah. It was like the Cat Williams thing. It's like, did you know he's lying, right? There's no way he can read 3,000 books a year.
Mm.
And it's like, but he literally sells out stadiums, and you're just questioning who's going to these shows because like he's obviously a liar, you know.
Right.
Okay, so but that all being said, I said Pacific Mall subconsciously because that is the hack. Fake stuff. It's like you don't need to buy the real thing to get across the exact same sensation. You
Sure.
could buy it for the fraction of the price, but this is the hack about clothing, where if it's all just material, what does it matter if it's real or fake? It's the ethos. Or maybe even in buying the fake one, you're joining the ethos of being like, I understand commercialization, so I'm going to give my money to the person that, you know, understands this, and we're just like pirating off of it.
No, I get that. Yeah. That's why
You know what I'm saying?
there is a big, um, what do they call
Yeah,
them? Like,
pirate, black market.
black market. Yeah, for fake goods. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know who?
But then there's
So
other well, these are the things that people don't know about or don't think about, that with the fake goods it's they're not, how they're made or what kind of material that they're using could be harmful to you. But you don't know that.
oh, that's creepy. But okay, wait a minute. Even in good goods, like no, sorry, not good goods. In good like
Legitimate
acquired,
goods.
like positively legitimate. Thank you. Even in legitimate goods. So I bought this Toomey pack, right? And on the thing it said like, beware, the chemicals dyed in this could cause cancer. I was like, what the hell is this? Right? But it's like everything can do that. And then I asked even the associate, and they're like, no, they have to put that as like a warning because of
Mhm.
how they dyed it or something.
Right.
Right. And I was like, yeah, but everything could lead to that.
No, but then there's some elements that are, you can write those elements or write that, you're saying that label, but they know what the elements were used in it, right? Versus
Oh, but like
other
what are the
things that are actually illegal to use or not, you're banned to use, but are being used to make it, but still selling it in a black market
I
because
love
you
how you're
don't
trying
know.
to I love how you're trying to freak me out with this. Like don't buy counterfeit goods because counterfeit, it's not black
Yeah,
market.
that's right. Yeah.
Don't buy counterfeit goods. Don't buy counterfeit goods. Why? Because it might cause cancer. You're like, bro, what? They're just like jumping into these crazy.
No, but
But
it's
that's
true
the
though. Yeah,
psychological
yeah.
part of.
But
Okay, yeah, no, I
they
understand.
use
Yeah.
things that are actually banned, right, to reach those because it's cheaper to make them.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. But like, but they're all going to the same supplier. The way I saw these counterfeit goods
No, I'm not saying all of them
is
necessarily. It's like there are going to be some things that are like lead-based stuff that is actually banned, but they're
okay,
like,
yeah,
right,
fair.
like that's what I'm saying. Like those are the things, but you don't know with the counterfeit what's being done, right?
Okay, fair. But what I think is like the the way I see counterfeit is more like you could you could buy it whole, like you could, like the Zara thing, like they're all the same product. You're just putting the different brand on it
Yeah.
because it's not in their line. That's what I'm saying. It's like these counterfeit goods, they're not like a line of something. Oh wait, hold on. How do I explain this? Like when they have a fashion line, there's like a select series of pieces. So when you buy certain counterfeit goods, they're not actually a part of that line. They're just using the logo.
Yeah. Right. I know. I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like so it's like almost like a unique drop of
Hmm.
that thing. So they're not trying to mimic something. It's more like you're just putting a logo on something that it shouldn't be there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. They're just, yeah, maybe they're just stitch the label, right? That's all it is.
If that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I never thought of it from that perspective. Actually, they're using like chemicals that shouldn't be put in there. That's how you can get it for cheaper.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. The person who turned me on to this was like, I was getting like a tattoo fill at P Mall, and the person had a giant Balenciaga coat, and I was like, "There's no way you bought this like for real. Like you're charging so low for this tattoo.
Right.
How many tattoos you gotta make to friggin' pay for this? You know what I mean?" And then like they also had like oh, what was it, like a Chanel, I think it was Chanel, like a Chanel bag, like one of these. So like easily those two pieces would have cost you like maybe 10,000 total,
Mm.
5,000 per. And I'm like, as a tattoo artist charging this low, there's no way
Right.
you
Yeah.
save like your rent. You know what I'm saying? And then you walk around P Mall and you're like, dude, there's so many counterfeit goods here. But they've been raided so many times, and yet the stores are still there. It's almost
Mhm.
like an accepted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Unless I think
Shout out P
it's,
Mall.
I think it's more
That's
about if there's complaints, then only that there's something going to be done. Generally,
yeah, true. Because there's like security guards. There's like, bro. Yeah, I guess complaints. That is how you do it.
hmm
But you know, like in airports too, they said if you there's a new rule if they catch you with counterfeit goods, they take it from you. They don't charge you, but they'll just like confiscate it.
okay, yeah.
I'm like, how do you know it's fake though? You know,
I don't know. They have experts. I have no idea.
yeah, it's weird. Everyone's like supremely knowledgeable in fashion lines. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, no, totally. So they are trying to put a damper on it, but it is funny. Like, yeah, I guess you just need the complaints to pop up because
Yeah, and I don't think
like
most people are complaining. Maybe the few that did. That's why some places got hit, or if
rated.
there's other evidence for what they're connected to.
Oh, I see. Like a RICO case.
Sure.
Like they're a part of Epstein's
Yeah.
cabal.
Could be.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What time are we at? I had two
One
last things, but I'm like,
140.
there's like, oh Jesus. All right. Okay. All right. Super quick, because we brought it up this week. And I sent it to you. People didn't know that the Torah, Bible, and Quran are connected. That's crazy.
Quran?
Or the
Oh,
Quran, Torah,
you,
Bible, and Quran. They're all connected.
well,
3-part series.
yeah. No, I know about the 3-part series, but I think the one that you sent me was just that the Torah is the
And the
Old
Bible. Yeah, no,
Testament.
no, I just threw in the
Yeah.
Quran. Yeah. That's wild. Like you don't even know your own religion, bro. And then the other person who I sent you who's like uber Christian and he's like, we came to America so we could worship freely. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
what? You wanted to separate God and country or else stay back in Britain because that's literally what they did, you know? Makes me again, it's
I don't know.
like
What
the
books
one
are they
who
reading,
rules
right? That's all that matters.
that's the ones who rule the memes rule the world,
Sure.
you know? Because like, why do you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
I mean, like,
and
it's in the
then
founding fathers of America that they wanted to separate church and state.
exactly. And then when I saw that video, I was like, this guy didn't do any pre-reading. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. So, okay. Other last thing talking about pre-reading is I wonder how people read books.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna put this out there because I heard like recently multiple people like how they read books and Novel and Joe Rogan, Novel Harari, Novel Ravikant and Joe Rogan, they're like vibing off of the way they both read books, which is they'll read something and then when they get bored they stop. Okay. I've also heard other people that like what's his name? Faraz Zahabi. You read the beginning and the end, and then you're like, if you think the beginning and the end are good, then you'll read the full book. Right.
Okay.
But okay, but I think like the one that I gravitate the closest to um is Faraz Zahabi, not in the beginning and end bit, but where he's like, every book is really just trying to tell you like four main things, right?
hmm
Or like one main thing sometimes, you know? And when I'm reading the book, I'm looking for the through line. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, I find that a lot of people read books to memorize the book. And I'm like, so like if
Mm.
you're like in a science book, okay, so like I'll read a science book. That's why I can burn through books really quickly because I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? Like the countdown book. There's so many chapters about like the intricacies of how this chemical is affecting your reproductive system.
Right.
I read it, but I'm not going to ingest it to the point where I'm like breaking it down mentally. I'm like, that's what a doctor's for. I don't even know if this is real or not.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like the way that the axiom hits the thing and well, what's a friggin' axiom? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that most people get like, they get like disheartened from reading books or they get apprehensive about
Sure.
reading books because they're like, I won't know what they're saying or like there's too much knowledge out there. And I think that if you just reframe it as like, what is the book trying to tell me? Then you'll be more conducive to reading books because you don't have to memorize it.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like some people like, I'll like talk about a book and they're like, yeah, that example of, I'm like, that's just an example. There's a million other examples that we could have of this thing, but what's the principle behind it? They don't remember the principle, they remember the example. You're like, well, you didn't catch
Right.
the whole point of the book.
Right.
Like, right? Like the person who recommended the ape that understood the universe, right? They're like, oh, it's a great book on evolution. And I was like, oh, cool, like like Big Bang. But that was just the beginning of the book. The main premise of the book is like how thought viruses work.
Right.
But then I'm like, did you get that, or did you gravitate to only the you know what I'm trying to say?
Or you just read the first part.
Yeah, right. Totally. And what I'm saying is like the reason why I want to bring this up is like I think people, if they just broke the stigma of how to read, then they'd be more open to reading, and then we'd have a more educated society because of it. Because it's like books, yeah, they're thick, but there's like a main principle that they're just trying to tell you. Like for us, the hobby said, if you can distill the 300 books into 50 pages, that would be way better than reading the whole 300 pages.
Right. We need Cole's notes.
Cold notes, right? Yeah, facts. And if you really want to delve into it, then you could read the examples, but like don't make that a hindrance for why you don't want to read books, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And like, how are you reading books? I don't know. That's one thing that I've started to notice, because like I'll have a conversation with somebody else about a book that I read, and then I'm like, oh, you missed the point of the book. Or maybe I missed the point of the book. But I'm like, but that was like the early
It depends.
Part of the book. Like,
I guess it depends
you know
on the
what I'm trying to say?
person's perspective, what they're reading it for.
That's true too. I never thought about it like that. That's true. I was having a conversation about Michelle Obama's book, and they were like, oh yeah, she came up through hardship, and I was like, yeah, but the whole, like, yes, she did. That was like the first beginning of the book, and you're like obsessing over that, but also like look how much change she enacted. She had like this health, she was into health, so she like implemented health into the White House.
Right.
And like I was like, look at the right, but they were so obsessed with like the upbringing. But I was like, no, but that's like it's a rise story.
Yeah,
like, it sucked. What do we get out of it?
Right.
You know? But that's not how they were viewing it. But it's like you were saying, it's like, how are you, like, what's your mindset when you're reading the book? You know, maybe you're just gravitating to that because of your personality.
Right. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
Which is kind of freaky, because then it's like,
well, that's why people have different
what is
perspectives,
real,
though,
bro?
right? No, but that's why
No, I
people
know,
have
exactly,
that's the whole point, right? That's why a lot of the movies, we can watch the same movie, but we can pick out, you know, like we talked about last week. Like you had a different perspective. You and Tara had a different perspective of Barbie than I did.
Right. Yeah,
We watched the same movie.
True. And if you think about it that way, it's like, how messy is our species, bro?
Yeah,
'Cause it's
exactly.
like, so maybe, just putting it out there, maybe Epstein knew something. He's just keeping social order. Okay, all right. Till next week.
Well, it just comes back to the movie. Nobody really knows what's going on. Things are just moving along.
Yeah,
and
facts.
you just hope that you're at the right time to know the information that you need to know. That's all.
Facts. Yeah. So we'll wait for the evidence to fully come out, and we'll be like, he was onto something, bro, or not. But you know,
Sure.
benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt.
Right.
People in power like only want the best for people not in power, right? It's like it's the way of the world,
Yeah, like what did they believe? I don't know. Like what did
Benevolence.
Hitler believe for what he was doing?
right, bro? It's benevolent. That's all these people in power really care about. Benevolence. They want to like take care of us, right? All right. Till next week. Some food for thought.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.